Here we go. All right, so characteristics of problems. This one right here, it's set up right now to not fit any of those. None of them are in standard form. I don't have a variable by itself. I don't have them in y equals mx plus b form. So therefore, graphing, substitution, or elimination doesn't jump off the table at me. So I have to make my choice. Personally, if I'm choosing to do this, I'm probably going to use graphing because elimination is going to get messy. But you have to understand on graphing, you're going to get some decimals. So it's going to clean up a little bit later, okay? And so I'm going to do graphing first. All right, so in graphing, I have to get both equations in y equals mx plus b form. All right, so I'm going to take this first equation right here, and all I got to do is move the 9 and divide by the 5. Okay, so I'm going to have y equals negative 4 over 5x plus 9 over 5. Check me there to make sure yours looks like that one. Check my math and make sure it's correct. All right. The next one, I got to do a lot more moving. Well, I'm going to move and then switch around. So I'm going to move the 20 over, and I'm going to divide by the 9, but then at the end, I'm going to write it from left to right. All right, and so my equation is going to be y equals negative 11 over 9x plus 20 over 9. Everybody okay with that? Yeah? Good. All right. And so, since I have that, I'm going to put this in my calculator, and I'm going to find the point of intersection. All right? And so the first one, this is going to be my y1, this is going to be my y2, so I'm going to go negative parentheses 4 divided by 5 close parentheses x plus parentheses 9 divided by 5 close parentheses. Okay? Then I'm going to go negative parentheses 11 divided by 9 close parentheses x plus parentheses 20 divided by 9 close parentheses. Everybody okay? All right. I'm going to graph it. All right. Now then, we're going to go through and we're going to find the point of intersection. So I go second, trace, which gets me to calc, intersection. I'm going to select the first one right here. What's the key thing that I have to do when I select the second curve? Make sure it's past the point of intersection. The first very important thing is that I got to make sure I can see the point of intersection. Now that I can see it, okay, so it has my solution at 1, 1.
See, that's what I got, but
Okay, well, could have wrote wrong one here. Okay. We'll work it the other ways and see if we get it 2 different ways. All right? All right, so that was my graphing one. Any questions on my calculator commands? I still have people struggling with calculator commands, especially if you were absent. So you should be able to go back and see me actually doing the calculator commands now. All right? Now we're going to do this through substitution. Once again, they're not setting themselves up really easy for substitution, so this one will probably get ugly. But at least we know what our solution should come out to. All right? And so, this is going to be ugly because you got fractions. All right, so this first one right here, I'm going to solve for x, and then I'm going to substitute it. So I'm going to have x equals 9 over 4. It's going to change to positive because it's negative 9 divided by negative 4. And then I'm going to have negative 4 over 5y. Or 5 over 4y. And then I'm going to take that one, since I've got a variable by itself now, and substitute this one in for this equation right up here. Okay? So, I'm going to go negative 11x equals negative 20 plus 9y, and I'm going to substitute x equals 9 over 4 minus 5 over 4y. Now, what's the purpose in substitution? What's the purpose in it? What are we trying to do?
To find the x or the y and plug it into the other.
Yeah, that's the overall purpose of it all, but why does substitution help me? Because it gives me just the same variable in there. I don't have two different variables in it anymore. All right? And so, we're going to multiply that. I'm going to go negative 11 because we're doing the distributive property here. Negative 11 times 9 divided by 4, and I'm going to get into some decimals now, if that's okay with you. All right. I would encourage you that with your calculator, check your math. If you want me to work it all three ways, make sure you check me putting these in the calculator. All right. And then to do so, I'm going to take this negative 13.75 and move it over here, because that will make it positive. And I'm going to move my 20 over by adding. Oh, it's going to make this plus, so I'm going to have to do it the other way, because when I distribute the negative 11 in there, so do that vice versa. We're going to do it the other way. This will be negative 9y to there, because when I distribute my negative, it should make that positive. All right. There we go. All right, so these are going to cancel out. These are going to cancel out. And I'm going to have 13.75 minus 9, which is going to give me 4.75y equal to negative 20 plus 24.75. All right. And to get y, what do I do? So y gives me 1. All right? Now, by looking at the original equations up here, and I know y is 1, which one of those would be the easiest one to plug it into? Would it be good to go back and plug it into this one? I wouldn't, because it's got fractions in it. I mean, you're going to turn them all to decimals anyway. But I'd pick one of these up here at the top to plug it into, just because there's no fractions involved. Okay? And so in there, I'm going to choose, I'll just choose the first one. Negative 9 plus 5, plug in my 1 for y, equal to negative 4x. And this is where I substituted in y equaling 1. Okay? I got the same solution. Everybody okay? All right. So lastly, we are going to do elimination. And so elimination, there's my original equations up at the top. What do I have to have for elimination?
You have to make one the opposite of the other.
Like coefficients or coefficients.
Something we got to do first, though. We're going to look for like coefficients, or we're going to look for coefficients of 1, but they have to be in a certain form first.
Standard form?
They have to be in standard form first. All right, and so I got to move these around to get them in standard form. And so I want to move the first one. I want to move the x over and move the 9 over. So it's going to be 4x plus 5y equals to 9. Elimination is going to be uglier than substitution, just want to let you know. And up here, I'm going to move the 9 over, so therefore it's only one move. So I'm going to have negative 11x minus 9y equal to negative 20. All right? Now, this one fits none of our characteristics for elimination. One, it wasn't in standard form, but it also wasn't in the other forms for substitution or graphing. Okay? So I could get it in standard form. Then it doesn't fit the fact that I have a like coefficient or coefficient of 1. So all the characteristics of elimination, it doesn't really fit. So therefore, you know it's going to kind of be ugly or require me to do something. So here's what we have to do when I do this for elimination. I've got to eliminate one of the variables. It doesn't matter at this point which one you want to get rid of. Because getting rid of either one of them, I'm going to have to do something to the top and something to the bottom. Okay? And so I'm just going to pick the x just because it's right here and you'll be able to see it. So for me to be able to eliminate the x, I need this and this to change to something that are alike and then also be opposite. They're already opposite. What can I multiply to 4 to make it common with something down here with 11? There's nothing that 4 and 11 have in common except for 4 times 11, right? And so I got to take the top, multiply it by 11, and take the bottom and multiply it by 4. And then therefore, since I'm multiplying the top by the factor and the bottom by the common factor, they're going to cancel out. Okay? So, that to that, that to that, that to that, this to this, this to this, this to that. So I'm going to have new equations that are fixing to come up. Alright, so my new equations are going to be 44x plus 55y equals 99. Right? Then I'm going to have negative 44x, which you can see that's where my elimination is going to happen, minus 45y, negative 80 for my solution. Do we agree? And now when I add them together, those are going to make 0. These are going to make positive 5y. And this is going to make 99, negative 80. I wrote them right? Yeah, what do we got here? What is wrong? That's not 45. Why'd y'all let me do that? That's 36. 4 times 9 is 36. So what's 55? See, once again, minor details. That's 36 is 19. And now that 19 makes me feel better because I know that it's going to make 1. So y equals 1. Go back up and substitute it in. I'm going to substitute it into this equation here. Four x plus 5 equals 9. Subtract the 5. 4x equals 4. X equals 1. All right?